Hey, Twins fans, if you have any genies in a bottle stored somewhere in your basement, now is the time to get them out of storage. After a disastrous series against the Marlins, Minnesota is one false move from elimination. But before that happens, let's get locked on Twins.
You are Locked On Twins, your daily Minnesota Twins podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome back to Locked On Twins, your daily go-to destination for the top Minnesota Twins insight, discourse, analysis, obituaries, whatever. Personally, it's my favorite show on the Locked On Podcast Network, which brings you your team every day. I'm co-host Dave Brown, a professional ball writer since 1998, a BBWA member since 2012, and a Baseball Hall of Fame voter since this year. Please follow me on Twitter at @AnswerDaveBrown if you like. Across from me in cyberspace is Brandon Warren, a Twins watcher for 30 years, who not long ago covered this team on a daily basis professionally. That must have been great and fun. He asks that you spam him politely on Twitter at Brandon_Warren. Here's what's coming up on this podcast. We will review, if not fully dissect, the Twins' 8-6 loss in extras to the Marlins on Thursday night. The 100-loss Marlins, by the way, and how it affects Minnesota's playoff chances. Here's a hint. It's not good. For the moment, Brandon, please tell us who's bringing us this pre-elimination episode of Locked On Twins.
This episode of Locked On Twins is brought to you by Booking.com. Booking.yeah, the right stay can make you a fan of any city, even your baseball rivals. So book today on Booking.com, the official accommodation partner of Major League Baseball. Get the Booking.com app today. And hysterically enough, Fan Appreciation Weekend starts on Friday. It's something you can catch every pitch of the Twins hometown broadcast on SiriusXM. Chris Atterbury and friends. Just download the SXM app, search Twins. It's Pablo Lopez. It's great trade Falvey, Cade Povich. 7:10 p.m. first pitch at Target Field. So really feels like a punch in the mouth to play like they did on Thursday night and then have Fan Appreciation Weekend for possibly the three least meaningful games of the season.
Right. And, you know, the Twins have had some problems this year showing their appreciation for fans, not based on so much how they've played, although lately that hasn't been good, but right. The whole thing with TV and letting, Diamond Sports' bankruptcy kind of rule how the game is presented. I'm sure that's hurt attendance and hurt, that's for maybe for another show, but I was thinking about that too. It's not just losing in September that's unappreciative. It's been a whole season of that. The Twins owe their fans an apology, mostly from the top, not so much from the players, but it's not good. And I know it's just a coincidence. I mean, Fan Appreciation Day and weekend is always this time of year, so that's unfortunate that it's happening now, and it is funny and ironic and laughable. But well, anyway, one thing the Twins have been doing lately is trying to top how frustrating the previous loss was. There's a running Twitter gag about how that was the worst loss of the year. I think Aaron Gleeman does a lot of that, and it's kind of been going on all season. Well, it's been going on a lot in September, and this one might take the cake. The Twins had 12 hits and drew 7 walks, but they also went 2 for 19 with runners in scoring position and stranded a collective 15, most of them seemingly in extra innings, even though that's not literally true. There's a fun stat called runners left in scoring position with 2 out that they put in box scores. Royce Lewis 3, Willie Castro 2, Carlos Santana 2, Austin Martin 2, Buxton and Correa 1. There were some horrendous base running gaffes, or at least hesitations that hindered their chances of scoring. They had pop-ups or dribblers at the worst possible time. They bunted really badly. They caught some breaks too and couldn't take advantage, such as umpire Jeremy Rahak being inaccurate. 1.07 runs in the Twins' favor, a whole run plus. They lost the StatCast World Series. The Marlins had an expected batting average of 183. The Twins 205. And now they lose 2 out of 3 to a team that lost 100 games this season. And now it sets up a situation where they need a pair of sweeps, one by the Orioles and one by the Braves, or one against the Orioles, I should say, and then one by the Braves of the Royals, presumably if Atlanta is not underwater. Neither is likely, but that's not even the point. I sort of came to this. The Twins don't really deserve to go to the playoffs. So that's not like a slam on their effort or them as human beings or, that's not an emotional response. They haven't won enough games. They can't beat the Marlins. If you can't beat the Marlins 2 out of 3, how are you going to be clamoring for a playoff spot where you have to beat somebody else who's in the playoffs 2 out of 3. It just doesn't make any sense. They don't deserve to be there. Like literally.
Exactly. Yeah. I think, we love acronyms in baseball, but I don't think Erlisputo will take off with runners left in scoring position with 2 outs. But I like the pull there because it epitomizes frustration, because when you watch a game emotionally, the most frustrating times are when the runs are so close, you can almost feel them. And in extras for the Twins, that was the case for every inning. And I think, you talked about the umpire runs favoring the Twins. So we got the StatCast World Series, and I don't know, maybe that's the something to do with like police World Series. I don't know. If you win that, you win the law enforcement World Series. But I think a lot of that came on that Brooks Lee plate appearance where he was trying to bunt. He was trying to give the Marlins an out, and they were not calling, Rahak was not calling strikes that were strikes. And then that guy pitching could not throw strikes besides Mr. Peterson there. And there was just opportunity after opportunity after opportunity for the Twins to take advantage. Royce Lewis on a 3-1 pitch hits the ball 3 feet, 40-something miles per hour average exit velocity. I mean, you can't make it up. And the biggest travesty to me is that the team that knocked them out of the playoffs directly is a young team playing hard, making mistakes. And the mistakes the Twins made happen way more often than not on guys who've been in the big leagues far too long to make those mistakes. Ryan Jeffers not hustling, not catching a ball thrown to him from Carlos Correa. Carlos Santana getting doubled off second base. Like Corey Provis said it best, that can't happen. Unacceptable. Chris Atterbury and Corey Provis both absolutely hammered the Twins for that. And honestly, the only thing you can say about them doing that is that they could have done it a while ago and it still would have been justified. Good for them for saying the truth, even if it had to be this late in the season when the season was on life support.
Yeah, Santana getting double off second. I've watched that play 5 or 6 times, and it seemed like he's hustling back, and then he stopped hustling back. It didn't make any. There was no excuse for that whatsoever. And I kind of dinged Austin Martin for some poor base running on a ball that was a hit. Larnach had a hit to right field, and he had to freeze to make sure that it went through. But then he runs back to second base, and that didn't make any sense because the guy was not going to be full extension, catch the ball, diving toward first, and then double him off second. There was no chance of that happening. He did not. Freezing was fine. If he had frozen and not gone back to second, he would have given himself a chance to score. Maybe Tommy would have had him thrown out at home on a send, but at least it would have happened. Even when the Twins get a hit with the runner in scoring position, it doesn't. They can't make it work. So there's just they look very unfundamental out there. And as much as I don't think it would be the right thing to do to change coaching staffs, that's at least a little bit on them.
Yeah.
So it's when we talk about the changes that need to happen in the offseason, getting a TV deal, that's one thing. Setting reasonable spending for free agents and trades and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And making sure that they know how to, if they are going to bunt, that they know how to do it. And if they are going to run the bases, that they know how to do that. It doesn't look like maybe the pressure's getting to them. And that doesn't necessarily speak well to them either. So anywhere you look, it's been an illuminating in a bad way week and month.
If it gets to a guy like Martin, I kind of get it though. Carlos Santana's been there before. He was signed as a amateur free agent the year I graduated high school. I mean, we're the same age. I don't make that mistake playing fat man softball. And for Austin Martin to freeze, it's very Minnesotan to freeze, but it's very Canadian to retreat because Canadians are very generous in giving back. Well, guess what, buddy? You're on the Twins. You're not on the Blue Jays anymore. No. You know what? I got a stat for you that really bums me out.
Oh, great.
The White Sox have won 8 games this month. The Twins have won 9.
Good stat.
I have a stat.
Thank you, Angels.
Yeah.
Hello, Angels. All right. With that, let's take our first break, and then come back and do more of this.
We got some friends over at Robinhood, and with Robinhood Gold, you don't need a silver spoon to eat up the financial favors of the 1%. Robinhood Gold allows others to get the rates and perks usually reserved for the high society. Now, the resourceful individual with Robinhood Gold can earn the very liberal rate of 4.5% APY on uninvested cash, receive unlimited 1% deposit bonuses, and be rewarded with a handsome 3% retirement boost on an IRA account. Robinhood Gold provides the privileges of a high net worth for any net worth. These generous benefits are now available for only $5 a month. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. Sign up now at Robinhood.com/gold. Terms apply. For specific disclosures, visit Robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. Rates may change. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold, LLC.
No more sponsors, sir. That's it.
Not yet. We'll hit a couple on the back end so we can start burning again at the angst towards this reckless and feckless baseball team. We used that reference yesterday, and I like it.
Right. Well, adding insult to injury, it's not over yet. It's like the torture, figurative, will continue until morale improves. The Twins could still get in the playoffs if they sweep the Orioles. The Orioles are not going to be really interested in playing full games. I suppose it's possible that they could. And the Braves, provided they're able to get all the games in and they don't have to, the Royals aren't going to float away. I think there's even a chance they might be able to play today in Atlanta if the rain stops in the afternoon, which according to some forecasts, it might. Otherwise, maybe a doubleheader tomorrow and then Sunday and then another doubleheader for the Braves, but that's not the Twins issue. So the Royals need to lose 3, which could, these things are possible. But like I said before the break, the Twins have shown us who they are. They can't beat the Marlins 2 out of 3. Mm-hmm. And after being given lots of opportunities, are you going to invest any emotions at all in these games? I think after like every loss, the first thought is, "Oh, I'm done with them. They're toast. I'm not gonna whatever." But are we going to be fooled if they win tonight and the Royals lose?
Nope. I think it's going to be the most Twins thing ever to sweep this series and need a sweep on the other side, and both teams take 1 of 3, so the Twins are nudged out of the playoffs by this specific loss or series to the Marlins. I think that's just the way it's going to go. And, I list 2018 as the most frustrating season that I covered because there were expectations and the team stunk. This year is even more frustrating because they strung you along. At least with 2018, you never had any hope. You realized they were mediocre from the get-go. They stayed mediocre and never rose above that. This team started the way they ended and ended the way they started. And that applies. A microcosm of that is Thursday night's game. Start terribly, crush it in the middle, feel great, completely, pardon my French, piss your pants at the end of the game. And that's just exactly how the season has gone. You could ride the Twins playoff odds graphic down a hill, and it would be hurt. It would be too dangerous with how steep of a drop it is. The big slide at the Minnesota State Fair is not that dangerous. So to toy everyone, lead along like that. And again, I know they're not doing it because they're, it's just how it's happened. Preparation, everything, I'm not saying that they've chosen to be this bad, but it's just about as frustrating as you possibly could be as a baseball team, and to be sitting at home in October is right where they belong and right what they deserve.
Between 2 and 3%. That's, by the way, what the Twins, according to Baseball Prospect Bus, between 2 and 3%. That's how. That's what their playoff odds are now. Yesterday they were 22. The day before they were 25. A few days before that they were 50. A couple days before that they were 75. Earlier this year they were like 80 or 90 or maybe more. I don't know. Although, I guess that shows you what that's worth, looking that early in the season. The thing that bothers me isn't, it's like I said before in a previous episode about Kirk Gibson talking about how it's not so much an effort, but it's when a player is going bad, it sometimes it's hard for them to figure out why things aren't working. And so I thought the Twins had enough fortitude and gumption and whatever those intangibles are to eventually address their issues and keep the slumps at a minimum. And until this month, they had done it, but they're out of gas, physically and emotionally and technically, and it's a little disappointing. I know they haven't had all their players, and it's put a strain on a bunch of different parts of the team. But like if you look at the bullpen yesterday, for the most part, I know in the end blew it, but the bullpen kind of kept them in the game. The Marlins were on the verge in the early innings after Festa didn't have a good start of going up 6-0 or 7-0. And the bullpen kept them in the game and kept them mostly off the scoreboard, giving the offense a bunch of chances. Other than a start or two with Ober and Pablo, the pitchers have done what we thought they would. It's been the other parts of the team that we thought were deeper that have completely let down. And it's just disappointing to me that obviously that's happened. And I don't know, like I'm sort of tiptoeing around like, well, who do we blame? And yesterday, Dan Hayes tweeted, he's like, we have a cross stadium yelling contest going on here. One man wants the Minnesota Twins to fire Rocco. Across the way, another man said, don't blame him, blame the Polads. So, and of course, we've got some great trades for Falvey as well, who we could blame. It's funny that Dan was able to hear all. I know the press box is a good vantage in Target Field, but I found that it was interesting that the ballpark was kind of quiet for all the things that were going on and the stakes, and it's almost like the people knew that what they were seeing was going to be disappointing. So why bother getting excited for it? It seems like fans have known, and they've sort of cashed in on this team already.
The stadium being that quiet at that point in the game is a pretty apt metaphor. And, somebody posted a picture of home plate or where it used to be in Oakland with home plate pulled up and said, wow, what a metaphor that is too, because there's no home in Oakland anymore. Metaphors abound. By the way, you remember when you and I did relief pitcher lists at the beginning of the year, or a list of guys we thought could help? Scott Blewett was like in the 20s somewhere, right? Like he was way down there with Jeff Brigham and a whole bunch of other guys. So for the season to be on his shoulders and the number of times he's actually answered the call, no gripes with Scott Blewett whatsoever. Now, what's that?
No, agree.
Back to your point, though, about who the blame falls at. How does a team led by notoriously well-regarded leaders, the Carloses, Santana, and Correa, have this happen? And to what extent does the blame fall at their feet? No pun intended, with Carlos Correa.
I mean, to some degree, Correa hasn't been able to be out there a lot because of his injury issues. And, Santana, for all the times that that he's saved their butt with a good play or a clutch hit or whatever. I don't want to say this like to lessen his blame, but he's imperfect. He makes mistakes too, and sometimes they're really unforgivable. And it's
he's also 38. I mean,
he is.
He can't do it all.
He can't do it all. He can't do it forever. The team has a lot of decisions to make. Like, what do they do with this depth of redundant-ish left-handed hitting outfielders? Should we consider trading that for other things? Can they go into another season next year where they've got 3 starting pitchers who can't go past 4 innings? That's way too much stress on everybody else to get to where you want to get in a season when like they top out at 4 1/3 or 4 2/3. They've got to. This is not necessarily just another Twins problem. It's a baseball issue, but you've got to have pitchers that can get into the 6th inning. Sometimes, not every time, but sometimes. Zebby's got to go 6. Festa's got to go 6. And as we saw yesterday with Festa, maybe he's at, he's well beyond his innings precedent. So maybe there's some fatigue there. But next season, he's got to be a guy that is available for 150 innings or 175 innings. And they've got to figure out, get another pitch going with Simeon Woods Richardson. His velocity was down. Are the Twins going to go with these guys?
Right.
Does it make sense to ask for free agency or for trades to bring in pitchers from the outside? I think that's where a lot of the stress comes from. And two, like I said, the offense is overall, it's going to be good, but it's kind of like how you said, where you look at overall numbers, and that's kind of a misleading representation of how good your offense is, because sometimes they're so bad and so they press so much or whatever with runners in scoring position that, yeah, they can build up these statistics, OPS and WRC plus and all that, but it still doesn't, I saw a stat, I didn't copy it down, but their success with no one on base, really good. Their success with runners on base, okay. Their success with runners in scoring position, terrible. So it's got to be a little more consistent depending on. Yeah. What happened last night, as extreme as it was, is also a microcosm of the problems they have with the offense.
Well, before we throw it to break, I do think that Joe Ryan getting hurt obviously factors into the equation a lot. But when Bailey Ober is one of your two shining examples of your durable best starters, and you see that Ober just a year or two ago was being managed in the same way that Festa, SWR, and Zebby are being managed right now. Maybe in the future that's like, hey, those guys can become that. But you can't have 60% of your rotation have training wheels on, and then one of the shining examples of stability is a guy who's still, trying to get to the best version of himself. Yeah, Pablo could give you 180 innings, but I have no doubt that Ober is still not quite where he needs to be, and he's their second most durable, most relied upon pitcher. I mean, that's problematic.
All right, let's break it and then finish it.
This episode of Locked On Twins is brought to you by Booking.com. The right stay can make you a fan of any city, even your baseball rivals, which I guess in this case might be Miami. But you can book today on Booking.com, the official accommodation partner of Major League Baseball. Just get the Booking.com app today. With hotels, beds, and breakfasts, vacation rentals, resorts, and so much more on Booking.com, you just might find your perfect stay, even in your baseball rivals city during the postseason. You won't be there watching the Twins, though, most likely. But maybe it's time to test your baseball competition stadium cuisine, or if it's Baltimore, get some of those jumbo lump crab cakes. Luckily, on Booking.com, you can find the stadium stay that's just right for you. Stay in the area, stay on the harbor. There's all kinds of options. Booking.com is the way to go. It delivers exactly the right U.S. stay for you. The right stay can make you a fan of any U.S. city, even your baseball rivals. Go to Booking.com, or download the Booking.com app. And FanDuel Prize Picks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. Prize Picks is the easiest and most exciting way to play DFS, because unlike other ones, it's just you and the numbers pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. So if you're a real risk taker, you can play some of the more scary ones, the ones that are a little harder to reach, but if they happen, you can cash in big. With this US 4 correct pitch, with the high, you turn $10 into $1,000. So and see what you're capable of. If you want to go with a little less risk, or if you want to mix and match the two, the multiplier help you kind of customize your experience. And also in September, we're down to one September weekend left in the NFL. One Caleb Williams passing yard will get you one win on Prize Picks every week in September. And again, we just have one weekend left. That's right. Only 1 yard gets you an automatic win every football weekend in September. So 4 weeks of free W's. Now we're down to the last one. Don't miss this deal on Prize Picks because it's gone when September ends. He had 300 yards last week. We don't need to talk about the rest of how he got there, but he did have 300. And so good to see as many as Justin Fields had his entire time with the Bears. So something to consider. Anyway, download the Prize Picks app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB, and you'll get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code LOCKEDONMLB on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks. Run your game. Felt like I was turning the knife a little bit on you there, Dave, with the Fields reference. I'm sorry.
That's all right. I can turn off the Bears pretty easily. They've made it that way, so the expectations are so low. I'm not jumping to conclusions about anything. I'm glad that Justin Fields is playing well in Pittsburgh. I think he's got a competent coaching staff.
Yep,
and he can do some things. He can be an NFL quarterback. I don't think he can be a great one.
Yep,
and we'll see if Caleb Williams can just kind of wait for the Bears to hire somebody who knows what they're doing, because I don't think Eberflus is going to do it. So Vikings looking good.
Yeah. Could I posit a theory that I keep seeing that I'm not sure I'm comfortable with?
No. Yes, go ahead.
Statistically, Byron Buxton and Carlos Correa both playing very well since returning, correct?
Yes.
So some fans have convinced themselves that they should have come back sooner then.
Oh.
Yeah, see, isn't that it's
no.
I get the logic from like A plus B equals C standpoint, from these are humans recovering from human conditions in the human element. I'm just like, nah, we don't got to play this game.
If you look closely at how Correa is playing, you can see that he's hurt still.
Look at the throw everyone's ticked about, where he's hobbling down the first baseline. The catcher throws it, and whoever's at first base, because I think it might have been Jake Berger, I don't remember, has to like jump up and then run to the base. And everyone's like, "Oh, Correa not hustling." Like, have you paid any attention to this team over the last 2-3 months? The dude's got a stump of a foot, like Michael Scott would say. He's out there gutting it out, and the fact that he didn't run, it doesn't look good. The optics are bad, but that's just kind of where he is right now.
It's I don't know how much blame to apply to him not being in the lineup or being 100% had to do with the team's collapse, because there was a whole bunch of other things that went wrong in addition to him not being there or being 100%. But you expect him to just kind of jump in and be Carlos Correa at 100% when he's not is not fair. And that's sometimes people just sort of see what they want to see. They're ready to blame the guy with the big contract, and that's how it's been with Buxton. Yes, it goes back to that. Told you they shouldn't have paid him. So I'd like to just say that we can stop listening to these people.
Yep.
But
I'm doing a better job of that, by the way.
Yeah, I think you are too. You are doing a better job.
Not that I need my back padded, but
hold on. Where's that? I can't make my hands. There you go. All right, that's enough. I gotta go. We gotta go. We've talked about this team enough for today.
Yeah.
For my friend.
Well, when we come back next week, we'll have a full diagnosis of what all went wrong. We'll spend a week on it.
Right.
Thank you for making Locked On Twins your first listen today, both you, Dave, and the listener at large. For your second, enjoy the Locked On MLB podcast with Paul Sullivan. We call him Sully. We love him. He's hysterical, and he's here to bring you national expertise with some humor as we get ready for the playoffs, which are just a few days away. So get ready for the Fall Classic with Sully, who has it all covered every single day on Locked On MLB, available on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts, because it's part of the Locked On Podcast Network, which is your team every day.
Every day. So anything short of some kind of miraculous comeback in the next couple of days, you'll see us shortly after the season ends, and we'll do a full autopsy. But if we don't Casilla tomorrow night or the next night or the night after that, we'll figuratively Casilla
tomorrow night. I'm going to wear a Packers jersey if the Vikings lose on Sunday, by the way.
Did you bet somebody that?
Yeah. Well, anyway.
Why?
I don't know. See you later, everyone.
Go Bears.